Well, it's week number 2 on our CET Sports ISPN.TV high school football poll. Let's take a look at Class 5A first. And there was some movement, not at the top though. Mullen, they beat Grandview 24-0. Mullen looks very, very good, and they look well on their way to three-peating here this year. Meanwhile, Regis had the big win of the week. They knocked off Arvada West. They go from number 4 to number 2, 23-13. The final score there. Fort Collins beat Douglas County in a defensive battle, 9-2. Grandview drops a spot after that loss to Mullen, but certainly nothing to be ashamed about when you fall in a contest to the Mustangs. Columbine, the biggest jump of the week. They go from number 8 all the way up to number 5. They leapfrog Highlands Ranch and Fountain Fort Carson. They hammered Rocky Mountain this past week. Meanwhile, Highlands Ranch and Fountain Fort Carson didn't do anything wrong. They both won. Highlands Ranch beat Fossil Ridge. Meanwhile, we had Fountain Fort Carson on the airwaves here this past week. They beat Eagle Crest. Arvada West falls all the way down to number 8, but don't count them out. Certainly still have a very strong squad. Good bounce back win for Chaparrals. They hammered TJ, and then Bear Creek improved to 2-0 on the season. On to Class 4A, Dakota Ridge, they remain as their number 1 ranked team at 4A. However, I'll tell you what, the top 4-5 teams, all interchangeable. Really not a true number 1 in 4A. We're going to put Dakota Ridge there. They were number 2 to open up the season. They now go up to number 1. Pine Creek hammered Rampart 41-10. Wheat Ridge beat Castleview 35-21. It's a pretty good Castleview team. Remember, they made it to the playoffs of a season ago. That's a new football program. Meanwhile, Loveland will check in at number 4. They beat another 5A team, or I should say they beat a 5A team in Boulder, but they have opened up the season with back-to-back games against 5A teams. Ponderosa bounced back from that loss against Wheat Ridge last week. They beat Thompson Valley 48-6. Broomfield, the biggest drop in the polls. They were number 2, but they lost to Legacy. Legacy, of course, playing in Class 5A, but Broomfield, a little bit of a letdown after that big win against Monarch. There are the Coyotes right behind Broomfield. They sit at 1-1. They bounced Greeley West out of our poll. Greeley West was a newcomer last week. They checked in at number 9, but they fall out after getting hammered by Monarch. 42-14, the final score in that game. Montrose improves to 2-0 on the season. Ballard Christian, they were idle. They still sit at 0-2. And then Brighton, they are the newcomer in our week number 2 for a top 10 poll. All right, let's take a look at what we have coming up here this week. Coming up on Thursday, it's Overland on the road at Horizon. Then it's that battle for the Anvil City matchup on Friday. Gateway taking on Rangeview. Watch out for those Raiders. They sit at 2-0 right now. They are just on the outside looking in our 5A poll, and then a great 4A matchup as Wheat Ridge, number 3 in Class 4A, they get set to take on Longmont. Longmont's a team that's right on the outside looking in to that 4A poll. Keep it right here, ISPN.TV and CET Sports for the latest in high school football.